A week ago, if you would have asked me to tell you about UConn, I probably would have just told you that they have a really, really good basketball team. But now, today, in November of 2025, my Twitter feed is just flooded with UConn football, as this is a team that, in my opinion, is on the rise currently. They're 7-3. They're coming off of a thrilling victory at home against Duke, in which they packed out their stadium. Their 3 losses this season are all overtime games, and really, it was against a good Syracuse team before their quarterback, Steve Angeli, was unfortunately injured. A Delaware team that's honestly having a really solid season. They're 5-4 in their first year at the FBS level. And then they lost the game on the road against Rice, and that's going to be a difficult offense to try and defend. It's more of that shotgun, triple option attack, and that's a hard offense to try and stop. Overall, this is an excellent offense for UConn. The defense, not as good as the offense, but there's some players on this team that I think aren't getting the recognition that they deserve. This team is not getting the recognition that they deserve, and I'm going to tell you why. Before I get into the players on this team, first we need to talk about their head coach, Jim Mora. He is the son of former NFL head coach for 15 years, Jim Mora, and he started his career out with the Atlanta Falcons in 2004, and he actually took them to the NFC Championship game in his first year as a head coach in the NFL. They went 11-5. They unfortunately lost to the Philadelphia Eagles, and he followed that season up with an 8-8 year and a 7-9 year, and the Falcons just thought that that wasn't good enough, so they decided they were going to cut ties with Jim Mora. He then went into broadcasting a little bit. He was an analyst, went back to the NFL in 2009, where he coached one season with the Seahawks, went 5-11, was then fired, and then he got a shot at the college level in 2012, joining the UCLA Bruins. They went 9-5, followed by 2 back-to-back 10-3 seasons, and they won the Sun Bowl and the Alamo Bowl in those 2 games. And in that stretch from 2012 to 2014, they were 3-0 against USC. UCLA has really struggled with USC in the past. That was a stretch in which UCLA dominated. He would follow those 3 seasons up with an 8-5 year, a 4-8 season, and then a 5-6 year where he was eventually let go. Where now he has joined UConn as their head coach since 2022. He went 6-7 in the first season, 3-9 in 2023, kind of a down year, but last year winning the Fenway Bowl, going 9-4, and of course the 7-3 season that we are currently on. Under Jim Mora, UConn is 25-23. The 10 years before Jim Mora got there, they were 31-90. So that tells you what kind of program Utah's football team was for the longest time. Jim Mora comes in, turns them around, and is really 3 heartbreaking overtime losses away from being 10-0 and 2 games away from punching his ticket to the college football playoff. So how has UConn gotten to this point? We know they're not good at recruiting. In 2021, they were 117th in the nation. In 2022, they were 112th in the nation. 2023, they were 129th, and then 95th in 2024, and then this most recent recruiting class, they were 94th. So we know it's not because of recruiting necessarily, but this is a team that has some playmakers on the offensive side of the football. And the first guy to talk about is Joe Fagnano, as he has 25 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. You heard that correctly, 0 interceptions. This team as a whole has not thrown an interception all season long. And Fagnano is one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. Really, as far as the college level goes, he is one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. He is second in passing yards at the FBS level, and 25 touchdowns, 0 interceptions is by far the best touchdown to interception ratio in college football. But Fagnano is a 7th-year quarterback. That's something that a lot of college football fans are getting sick of seeing. But when you really break down his numbers, he has over 10,000 passing yards in his college career, 90 passing touchdowns. And when you have thrown the ball 1,324 times in your career and you've only thrown 17 interceptions, that should tell you what you need to know about this guy at the quarterback position. He should definitely be receiving votes for the Heisman. He should definitely be getting his name thrown in there to receive some postseason hardware as well. And this is a guy that I think can make an NFL roster. Like I said, you don't throw interceptions. That means you take care of the football, and NFL coaches are going to love that. Fagnano's got the size, but of course, the topic of, well, he's not really playing the best talent, that's of course going to come up, but you just can't deny the numbers that he has put up for the UConn Huskies. So Joe Fagnano is really good, but how about Cam Edwards at running back? This is a guy that actually went to UConn straight out of high school. He's not a transfer. He's got 159 carries, 866 yards, and 10 touchdowns. This is a true bell cow running back for UConn. He is 15th at the FBS level in rushing yards. So not only can they pass the ball, but they can run the ball at will as well. And having a guy like Cam Edwards definitely makes that easy. But I think the player that I'm most excited to talk about is wide receiver Skylar Bell. He's a senior. I'm almost positive this guy is going to get drafted and be on an NFL roster, and I think he's got a chance to play. 85 catches, 1,081 yards, and 13 touchdowns on the season. He ranks 1 in receptions, 2 in receiving yards, and 1 in touchdowns at the FBS level. He was a transfer from Wisconsin coming over for the 2024 season, where he put together a really strong season, but it's this year right now where he is breaking out, probably on pace for 100 receptions. Could be the Triple Crown winner, but he is, like I said, second in yards by about 150, so in order for him to get there, it may take some crazy numbers between him and Fagnano these last 2 games. UConn does close their season out with a game against Air Force this Saturday, and then on the road against Florida Atlantic. So those are 2 games that I think they could easily win and go 9-3. The offense is special. They average 456 yards per game. It's one of the best offenses in college football, and I really don't see how you can deny that. You watch them play, and this quarterback is something else. The defense, on the other hand, may be what is holding them back. In their 3 losses on the season, they allowed 27 to Syracuse, not bad, but they allowed 44 to Delaware and 37 to Rice. Those are overtime games, of course, but at the end of the day, if your defense would have played a little bit better, you could be undefeated up to this point, or maybe you just have the 1 loss to Syracuse. But they do have some ballers on the defensive side of the ball, and Brian Parham is that baller. He has 96 total tackles on the season, 10.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and an interception. He started his career out at San Jose State, where he was really solid overall, forcing 3 fumbles in his time there, having 5.5 sacks. Then transferred to Washington, where he really didn't get the playing time that he was looking for. And then now at UConn, Parham is playing some excellent football. This is another guy that I think should definitely take home some hardware in the postseason. He should be up there for the Chuck Bednarik Award. He is that kind of player. He is a captain on this defense, and he's another player that I do believe will get an opportunity on an NFL roster. And the last guy I want to talk about is defensive back Cam Chadwick. He's another guy that went to UConn straight out of high school, so he's wanted to be there. Jim Mora recruits him. He comes in. He has 6 interceptions in his career, 4 this season. Also a sack in there, and he has been a shutdown defensive back for UConn. And those are just 5 of these star players on this UConn roster. This is an exciting team, and this is a team that I wish would get the NIL that the basketball team does. UConn's basketball team ranks 12th in the country in NIL value, and if they would put some of that to the football team that I know they're capable of doing, you can't tell me that UConn couldn't put together some NIL and bring in better recruits at the high school level and in the transfer portal, because their basketball team is one of the best in the country at doing it. The basketball team is consistently competitive, and I don't see why UConn can't get there as far as the football team. They are putting the product on the field. Jim Mora is leading a really, really good UConn football team. I think it's time that the university starts to give a little bit of money to this football program, because I think it's a program on the rise. They play in the independents. They can craft their own schedule, and they can write their own story. And I think UConn is a team that a lot of people need to start paying attention to. Like I said, a week ago, I would not have known anything about this team, but after their game against Duke, where they packed that stadium out, everybody's becoming a fan of UConn. Everybody's talking about them, and I think it's warranted. This is a really solid football team, and I'm really excited to see how they do moving forward. Of course, Fagnano gonna be graduating. He's gonna be gone. Skylar Bell's gonna be gone. How do you back up, Joe Fagnano? What about Nick Evers, a former 4-star quarterback, transfers over to UConn? This is a guy that I think that now that he's been able to develop, he's sat behind Fagnano. I think Nick Evers could be the next guy that steps up and puts some numbers up for UConn, and potentially next season takes them to the college football playoff. I do envision this team going 9-3 and finishing out the season and winning a bowl game. And I don't think Jim Mora is going anywhere. I think a lot of teams are going to want to call Jim Mora up and try and get him to become their next head coach. But I think Jim Mora will be staying put at UConn. I think he likes it there. And like I said, this is a program on the rise. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I know it's been a while since I posted on the channel, but I really just wanted to talk about this UConn football team because they are the real deal. and I just wanted to let you guys know what I think about them. Like I said, that's going to do it for this video. If you liked it, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. See ya.